Fireball XL5, the second of Gerry Anderson's SUPERMARIONATION series, originally transmitted between 1962 and 1963, holds a major milestone in British filmmaking entertainment. Set in the year 2062 and 2063, Fireball XL5 is commanded by Colonel Steve Zodiac of the World Space Patrol. Zodiac's crew comprises the glamorous Dr. Venus, the Doctor of Space Medicine, middle-aged navigator engineer Professor Matthew Mattick, and co-pilot Robert the Robot, a transparent anthropomorphic robot. Fireball XL5 patrols Sector 25 of charted interstellar space and is one of at least 30 Fireball XL vessels. The ship consists of two detachable sections, a winged nose cone dubbed Fireball Jr., which houses the cockpit and serves as a self-contained craft exploring alien planets. The World Space Patrol is based at the ultra-modern facility Space City, located on an unnamed island in the South Pacific Ocean. The organization is headed by Commander Zero, who is assisted by Lieutenant 90. Throughout the adventures of the XL5, Steve Zodiac and his team encounter all manner of life forms and all forms of alien worlds. One of the program's biggest mysteries, the XL5's oxygen pills, work by shielding a person from the atmosphere of space, which keeps the body pressurized and stops the air from forcibly leaving the body, but doesn't protect them from radiation and extreme temperatures. The oxygen pills allow Steve Zodiac and his friends to not only float about but even to speak in space. The series was also the first of any Anderson series that was based on a world security organization, along with their remarkable vehicles and their extraordinary adventures who repelled alien invaders from hostile intentions. Fireball XL5 was not only Anderson's only series that was networked in America on NBC, but was the first British television series that was networked to an American market. Fireball XL5 has proven to be one of Gerry Anderson's most popular and fondly remembered series among viewers in the 1960s and in subsequent decades. The merchandising sale of the series from ITC Entertainment on both sides of the Atlantic paved the way for the even bigger successes Anderson's AP Films production team were about to enjoy. The series, the Star Trek before Star Trek, was stimulated out of the success following on their earlier SUPERMARIONATION series Supercar. The 39 episodes of Supercar were selling healthily in American syndication. However, Lou Grade of ITC Entertainment felt that he could sell a newer series easier than relying on more Supercar in order to increase ITC Entertainment further into the all-important American market. AP Films' immediate response to the success of Supercar was promoted as a proposition of an extension to the concept that would have had more space adventures. The first Supercar annual, published in 1962, shared its cover with a number of pages inside of Super R, a rocket developed by Professor Popkiss and Dr. Beaker out of the US government's funding. The final page of the annual hinted at further adventures of the Super R, which indeed was in the mind of the team of AP Films in Slough. Gerry Anderson, along with his recently married wife Sylvia, devised a new space-themed concept for the series, settling on two concepts to pitch to ITC. The first was Century 21, a colour sci-fi adventure series named after the US Space Patrol ship with a detachable nose cone that could land on alien planets. Set in 2962, the series was hoped by Anderson to be shot in colour and described Colonel Zodiac and Dr. Venus as the Mr. and Miss America of 2962. The other format Anderson proposed was for a series to combine live action with puppetry about the story of Little Joe, an American boy who dreamt of being Joe 90, the pilot of Space Patrol Vehicle 10. Joe 90 on his crew in the SPV would be joined by various members of his family and navigator Professor Matthew Mattick. Grade settled on the first option, feeling that it was a safer bet, but stipulated that it had to be filmed in black and white. The date of the premise was set now 100 years into the future. For the first time in his programs, we would start to see Anderson's predictions for a globalized future. The new SUPERMARIONATION series, originally titled Nova X100 before changing to Fireball XL5, featured the idea of a craft launching into space on a ramp as opposed to straight upwards, as Fireball XL5 launched upwards into space with, an idea that was proposed as a result of rumours from Russia's involvement during the space race. The Andersons wrote 2 scripts for the series together, and a group of 3 writers worked together to produce the remaining 37 episodes: Alan Fennell, Anthony Marriott, and Dennis Spooner. Filming of the series began in February 1962 and finished by March 1963, with a large number of episodes projected to meet an October 1962 air date. Episodes were filmed in pairs to help speed up the filming process. Toothbrush tops, real sets of tape, and pieces of Lego were cleverly utilised to create the iconic superficial element of the SUPERMARIONATION series. The revolving Space City Tower was an ingeniously futuristic model design engineered by Derek Meddings out of wood and cardboard. Meddings also designed various models of Fireball XL5 for various shots of Fireball landing, detaching its nose cone, close-up shots, and space shots. The greatly expanded sci-fi world of Fireball XL5 also offered a host of other exciting planetary settings and alien spacecrafts, boosting the AP Films' capabilities in realising totally alien scenarios. The launch sequence of Fireball XL5, seen at the start of every episode, provided one of the most famous sequences of any Gerry Anderson series. The frequent use of stock footage of crafts taking off would become a classic and popular mainstay of the Anderson programmes. Not only would this save on reshooting the same footage, which was something that occurred for Supercar, but provided the excitement for viewers of rewatching the same great footage of vehicles launching from their hangars or headquarters. The jetmobiles employed by members of the WSP on their travels across the universe were clever ways of getting characters around walking, and would become a feature of the next 2 SUPERMARIONATION series. Before a single shot could be filmed, the voices of the characters had to be recorded so the dialogue could be synced to the puppets. Various actors who had worked or were born in Canada came over to work in the UK, as this was a promising place for Canadians for such programmes that were required to sell to the American network. Paul Maxwell provided the voice of Colonel Steve Zodiac, with Sylvia Anderson voicing Dr. Venus, who the puppet was sculpted to her likeness. David Graham returned to the Andersons to voice Professor Matic, Zuni the Lazoon, and Lieutenant 90. John Bluthwell performed Commander Zero, and the cast frequently performed the many guest characters seen within the series. Gerry Anderson himself provided his own vocal talent in any of his shows, providing the voice for Robert the Robot, which was achieved by speaking into an artificial larynx, which he had seen performed in experiments done at Edinburgh University for people who had their larynx removed, which created the memorable mechanical voice for Robert. Anderson was desperate to make the puppets as realistic and as convincing as possible. This was a great challenge to the puppeteering team, not only to create humans accurately and through their actions, but also to create a whole host of alien beings that look extraterrestrial in appearance and act totally inhuman compared to the peoples of Earth. Aliens include the subterranes, rogue space pirates and criminals, space plants, giant monsters, robots, small dome heads, hypnotic brains, invisible aliens, solitary godlike beings, and aquamphibians, a precursor to the underwater beings seen in Fireball XL5's successor. Fireball XL5 began transmitting on the ITV regions in October 1962 and continued to be shown across the ITV regions well into the next decade. The series disappeared from the ITV regions by around 1972 and 1973 as ITV switched to colour programming. The end title song Fireball spent 12 weeks in the country's music charts, peaking at number 32 in March 1963. Barry Gray's Fireball remains one of the most fondly remembered aspects about the series, alongside Gray's, as always, memorable musical score, frequently supplemented with music composed for Supercar. Fireball XL5 was printed in TV Comic from 1962 to 1964, before appearing at the start of the launch of TV21 in January 1965, and quickly became one of the most successful British comics of all time, achieving record sales that remain unbroken to this day. TV21 possesses an attention to detail in its art and stories that rival the sophistication of Marvel and DC comics. Fireball XL5 was presented in glorious colour from TV21, presenting the comic as if it were a tabloid newspaper from 100 years into the future, with headlines and bylines relating to the Anderson-related strips within. That in turn gave the impression that the event being reported all took place within the same fictional universe. The success of Fireball XL5 also spawned an original audio album from Century 21 Records, Journey to the Moon, with scientific accuracy provided by Patrick Moore, alongside toys such as the limited edition Airfix model and rocket of Fireball XL5, the insane wave of character merchandise of the series in the UK, which was unheard of as the Anderson series spawned in the 1960s, with the exception of Walt Disney, saw the release of jigsaws, cigarette cards, lunchboxes, model kits, paint books, ready guns, water pistols, puppets that were all released based on the series, alongside 4 exciting Fireball XL5 annuals released between 1963 and 1966. Many of these items are now highly prized by collectors. 7 8mm home movies were released from the series of the episodes, giving a 1960s and early 1970s audience the opportunity to watch, in some format, Fireball XL5 outside its television screenings. The series was seen on Saturday mornings on American network NBC from 1963 up until September 1965 on children's broadcasting. The success of this meant that Fireball XL5 was seen regularly on both sides of the Atlantic and helped to establish a popular fan base for the show across the world. From the success of the series' network sale, ITC New York would see the SUPERMARIONATION series as an important commodity to the company. Fireball XL5 was even able to generate its own comic in the US in 1963. It has therefore helped the program to become one of Anderson's most popular shows. The network's success of Fireball XL5 led to the acquisition of AP Films from ITC Entertainment and to move into an even bigger facility to provide even better productions. Various musical tracks from Fireball XL5 would go on to occasionally appear throughout the SUPERMARIONATION series, and the puppets of Steve Zodiac and Commander Zero appeared as other guest roles throughout Stingray, as props, furniture and sets were recycled throughout. Since the 1970s, Fireball XL5 has been repeated several times on UK television. The ITV regions reran the programme in the mid-1980s and has been screened since 2023 alongside the other SUPERMARIONATION series on the critically acclaimed channel Talking Pictures TV. The programme has been released regularly on home media since the 1990s, beginning with the videos in the 1990s, alongside the DVDs in the 2000s, and on Blu-ray from network distributing. Attempts to recolorize the series were discussed and experimented with in the 1980s and 1990s. In 2009, The Day in the Life of a Space General was colorized and released on Blu-ray, followed by The Granatoid Tanks and the Sun Temple by network distributing in 2021 and 2022. Released around the same time as their highly impressive Blu-ray set, featuring new comics, special features, archive material, and extra minisode, Anderson Entertainment has continued to maintain the flame of the series with their impressive releases of exclusive merchandise, such as technical manuals and reprinted comic anthologies. The series is now available to watch not only on DVD or Blu-ray, but also on ITVX and ITV Retro alongside the other SUPERMARIONATION series. Over Anderson's outstanding career, Fireball XL5 remains one of his most remembered and important series. As the programme was made in black and white, it has meant it has not enjoyed quite so much shelf life that the colour SUPERMARIONATION and ITC Entertainment series have enjoyed in physical media and repeat runs over the decades. Fireball XL5 Easter eggs have appeared in musical songs and other popular culture, from the Saint TV series, The Adventures, to the CGI New Captain Scarlet and Thunderbirds Are Go remakes. Countless spin-off adventures have been told of the series, and the mighty scale for the series paved the way for future Anderson productions that will become even bigger and better. For a series set at the height of the space race, its contemporary discussions of rockets and Cold War alien powers captured an entire generation, depicting depicting viewers with an optimistic future in which the entire universe was open for exploration and colonization, and in which planets were often named after their single defining characteristic. The realms of storytelling were endless, for a generation gripped by the very real possibility of man living on the moon in just a few years' time. Anderson always insisted that his programs were not made solely for children. He wanted to appeal to adult audiences, and therefore the writing of his shows, although played with childish action and adventure and fun, still remained enjoyable for adults, and sometimes included very topical and meaning themes into the shows. These programs are still enjoyed by adults and children today, proving that Anderson's programs still last the test of time 60 years and beyond from when they were first made.